Today we're going to be discussing how to create a research project as a school extracurricular. So, first of all, you should identify your area of interest. This could be something that's related to a passion that you have. So, you could choose a topic that you're passionate about that aligns with your future academic career goals as well. If you are really into aviation and you want to go into that type of engineering, for example, then you could create a project that's revolving aviation, in particular not manufacturing, but like construction or whatever aviation people do. You also have to check the feasibility, so ensure that your topic is researchable within the resources and the time that you have available. Second tip would be to conduct research. This could be literature review, which is really important. So how you go about this is you read existing research, such as research papers, articles, and books to understand like the current state of knowledge in your chosen field. And you're also supposed to research on the gap analysis. So what this means is you have to identify gaps or unanswered questions in the existing literature that you've already read that you could address in your particular research. So that's kind of a great way of making sure that your research is important and there's something worth researching over. Tip number 3, define your research question. Now this is so important because this is the guiding question, the guiding source of your whole research. So number 1 tip for this would be have a very particular and a very focused research question. Don't make it too long. Formulate a very clear and concise research question or hypothesis. You can start with to what extent or how. These are usually the best and safest ways to go about it. I would personally say that you should go with to what extent. And if you are researching about a particular company, name the company, name the year, and those type of things, so that it's very, very concise and you are researching about just one thing in particular, because you can't research about different things in a research paper or research project. It's supposed to be just about one thing. So make sure it's very clear and concise so that the people who are reading know what you're researching on. And also make sure it's measurable. What that means is you have to ensure that your question can be answered through the data collection and analysis. For this, you can do secondary data and primary data, and you can have a supervisor as a teacher, or if you have a family connection, you can have them support you during your research journey and your thesis writing. This will also help you have a better and holistic approach to your research, because someone who is a professional in the field will be giving you advice. Now moving on to tip number 4, develop a research plan. So number 1, have your methodology. This means decide on the data methods you will use. This could be experiments, surveys, case studies, or even simulations. And then you also have to create a timeline. This is more for self-organization. So create a timeline with milestones to keep your project on track, and that you can also measure how long it's taking you and if you can realistically meet the deadline. And of course, resources. List the resources you will need. This could be materials, equipment, software, things that are going to help support your thesis or will help you formulate it. On to number 5. Seek guidance and support. This is something I touched on previously, like just a minute ago, but you always will need a mentor. So mentorship is really important, especially when you're writing a thesis on your own and you've never had support from anyone before writing a thesis. If it's your first time, then you should have a mentor. This could be an advisor, supervisor, a teacher, basically, or a professional, a professor even, who can basically provide you in-depth knowledge into the field and also help you get resources and particular surveys done or things like that. Peer collaboration can also be a great way to go about research projects. You can consider collaborating with your classmates or your friends who share similar interests, and this can be kind of like a group research project as well. Number 6, conduct the research. So basically for that, you need data collection and data analysis. So data collection is gathering your data according to your research plan. And then you have your data analysis, which is analyzing the data using appropriate statistical or even like qualitative methods, because for your data collection, it's really important you do it before your project and also as you're going along, so that you have a clear idea of if there is enough secondary data to support your claims. Because if you don't, then that makes your research null and void, meaning there's not much scope. So make sure you do a lot of research before you start. And when you're doing your research, you will naturally change your research question a couple of times as well, and that's where your supervisor comes in, because then they can help you formulate it according to what data you've already found in such a way that you can show that your research has scope and is significant. Number 7, document your findings. So for your research paper, write a detailed research paper or report presenting your findings. And you can also add visuals. You could add in different kinds of charts, different kinds of graphs, tables, and also illustrate your data throughout the paper to show things based on however you think suits you. Number 8, share your work. So you can do presentations at your school events, science fairs, or academic conferences if you can pull that off. And then you can also publish it through publications. So consider submitting it to your school or student journals, particular magazines or online platforms, even newspapers. You could write a article or column and you can submit it in case newspapers at your place take in entries, because a lot of newspapers have a column for children or people, young adults who are under 18, and they can submit their work, and if it gets selected, then they can get it published. Number 9, reflect and evaluate. So self-assessment is really important. You should reflect on what you've learned and how you can improve your research skills, and also get feedback from your peers, your mentors, and other people who you think are very valuable to your research. Number 10, document your experience. So you can add your work in your resume, highlighting it as a core project or a major project that you worked on. You can highlight your roles and your achievements. For example, if you're the sole writer, you can talk about that. If you got it published in a particular magazine or online platform, you can discuss that. And this can also help your applications, where you can discuss how this helped you become a better learner, a better researcher. Now let's talk about tips for success. So the number 1 tip for that would be to stay organized. Keep detailed notes and organize your data in order to ensure the fact that you will be on track and that everything is in order, and you don't have to keep looking for your research articles and these type of things, because that can set you back quite a bit. Number 2, be persistent. Research is challenging, but be persistent and resilient, because those are the keys to ensure that you're going to definitely have a breakthrough. If you can't find particular resources, if you think research isn't maybe your best suit, you can ask your mentor, you can ask a friend, ask someone who has experience researching for assistance, because they could give you a lot of valuable insight on how to research. Last tip would be networking. Engage with academic and professional communities to broaden your knowledge and your opportunities. You could do this through Reddit, through Discord servers. You could do this through maybe asking someone in your school, a teacher, to kind of direct you to someone they know in that field who could help you out. So these are some tips that I've shared, 10 tips for how to basically create a research project, and also 3 tips for success. So I hope this was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, you can of course ask me in the comments.